Hello there, welcome to another episode of Inside Out Alignment, your platform for self-discovery and creativity. Your host, Mary Tapper. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today and to introduce our special guest, who is no other person than Yemaya Indira. Thank you so much for accepting our invite. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Mary. It's my pleasure to be here and to be able to share, my love and expertise with your listener.
I'm honored. Thank you so much. Um, I know the audience will be curious to know who you are and what you do. Can you enlighten us a little bit about that?
Of course. So my name is Yemaya Indira. I am a trauma-educated somatic therapist with 30 years of experience, and I specialize in childhood adversity recovery. I also have a very rich medicine bag, as I like to say, because I, was propelled on my healing path myself at a very young age, and I had the chance to study with many, many different traditions and teachers. I'm one of those persons that just love to receive and continue to devour new wisdom, new understanding, and then I can bring that into my own personal teaching and sharing. So you might wonder, what is a trauma-educated somatic therapist?
Yes, so if you can tell us what that is, that would be great as well.
I will. So one of the base of my work that I practiced for 30 years is called the Rosen Method body work, which was created by a woman called Marion Rosen. I had the chance to study with her for 8 years in Berkeley, California. Marion realized that we use muscle contraction, muscle groups in our body to cope with what comes to us, as we are going from birth to old age. We use our muscle to contract, to hold the feelings and emotions that are coming too fast, that we don't have time to process, or that are repetitive, So if there's been violence in the household, or if there's been abandonment from one parent, or the experience of abandonment, from anything from small trauma to big trauma, in order to be able to move through life and still function as a normal human beings, quote, because that can be defined in many different ways.
Right.
We contract, we hold our breath, we contract certain parts of the body, and it starts creating what we call a posturing. So this posturing, that help us function in life, is actually damaging for our nervous system, for our freedom of movement, or freedom of emotions, because we keep, we're taming ourselves, we're bringing ourselves to be smaller than we truly are. Does that make sense so far?
Yes, it does. It does make sense. It does make sense a lot. And what actually made you to be interested in trauma, to become a specialist in this?
Yeah, because that's where I came from. We often say, we teach what we need to learn, or the kind of the archetype of the wounded healer, and, I'm just going to humbly say that that's what's been my path. I came from a fairly traumatic childhood background where there was violence, where there was one parent that left the household very early, which was my mom, which is difficult, for a young child to raise without the mother. Witnessed a lot of, things that a child should not witness. And, a lot of repetitive abuse. But I was someone that wanted to be free. So really early on, I left my home at 16. I moved to the States at 21. And very quickly, I started, learning and looking, at how can I deal with this pain I'm feeling inside? Like I'm feeling so much pain. I can't keep going that way. And I was one of those people like, drugs or food or, different things that you do to cope. It was not working for me. I was too sensitive in my body. So I had to take the road to real healing, not numbing. That was not a possibility for me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That is really inspirational at that young age, and being able to get out of it and being an inspiration today. It's so it's not a journey, because even talking about your childhood, coming from that a divided home, and being a girl, it's even more difficult. You know what I mean? And your mom leaving, and you leaving home at the age of 16. So, which means you grew up being like that person who is open-minded and so ready to learn.
Yeah.
And right, so ready to learn from those who have walked the talk or walked the path and who have succeeded. And that being that open-minded person and knowing what you needed, you wanted something that you will be yourself, that authentic self, and being in charge of your life. That is really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank
you
you.
you're welcome. And you also talk about when I feel, I heal. Can you expatiate on that? I love it, but at the same time, I want to get like the real message that you want to
Yeah, for sure.
give.
Well, I feel like my life purpose really is to have discovered that, that path of feeling as healing, and definitely the message that I want to convey the world, at large, because I believe that's a lot of reasons why we are in the difficulties that we are, with climate change and, just the states of the planet and the states of our humanity that is so divided right now, comes from the fact that we don't know how to feel our feelings, right? It's like we're not educated, at least in Western society, to feel our feelings. It's like everything is done against it. It's like, what they say to boys, like boys don't cry, or like, all the different expression we have to just like, keep your feelings inside. So
You
that
got to be tough.
yeah, you got to be tough, and you can, or don't display yourself in public, either grief, or anger, which often anger is covering the grief, the deep grief. We're very, very uncomfortable with grieving in this society. I think other societies have, easier access to it than Western society. So we keep those things in, and they just fester inside. If you're not able to mourn, if you're not able to grieve, you have to create, either mental patterns or physical patterns that are going to damage you and damage your relationships. Like the anger of someone that is not able to grieve, to feel that, those deep feelings, is going to turn into that aggression, like that's, me, you, and we see a lot of that happening right now. So most people, we are scared of feeling feelings. And what I hear people say, because that's, I'm the lady who help people cry, because that's the healing path that I know, and it's amazing to see, when people are able to let go and finally cry and mourn, because that's all human. The real human, when the human is free, just let pass the emotions through the body.
Yes.
And then the emotions move, but people are like, but if I go in there, or if I feel this, I will never come out, And so I always have this metaphor, it's like, if you're a surfer, that, you go out in the waves, and you flow with the waves. If you're being taken into this big wave tumbling, you relax, you let go, and you let the wave take you to the shore. If you resist the wave, and you tense up with all your might, you're going to get pummeled and pummeled and pummeled, and you'll never come out,
Sorry, we're having a connection issue here.
I think we just froze for a minute.
Yeah. Back.
There,
You're back.
we're back. So, so if you resist to feel the pain, or if you resist going into the wave, you will get stuck. But we think the contrary. We resist. And that's how we find this huge amount of people with depression.
Right.
Depression is the resistance, right, to feel the pain. I was just listening to someone else on the radio yesterday. It was like, depression is like constipated grief. Like, yeah. It's like you keep it, you bottle it because you don't know. So we need to educate people that it is safe, and actually it is a lifesaver to feel the feelings. Let them move through the body. Open the body. So it can just be a simple, graceful wave and not years and years of therapy and pain.
Definitely, definitely. It's like you're releasing, right? So thank you for that. And when did you have that turning point?
My turning point was really when I discovered this work. I mean, definitely have had a rich life, right? Because I'm a researcher, I'm a seeker, right? So I will put myself sometimes in a situation that will bring a lot of learning.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the main turning point, I was 25 years old. I was actually living in the Buddhist monastery because I wanted to learn more about, the issues that I've had, inside my body and my emotions. It was mostly my emotion at the time. I wasn't understanding how it was related to my body yet. And something happened to me at the monastery, which really triggered my abandonment issues to have, I had this big abandonment issue from the experience of having my mom leaving me so young. And I want to say just for my mom, because she often listened to these things, that not her fault. And we have a beautiful relationship now. Beautiful. I just came back from seeing her.
I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. So, but that's the experience that I lived as a child, like she was very young. She was, defending herself, and she tried to take me with her, but she was not able. That I didn't know. I found that out when I was in my 20s. So for me, I had been abandoned. So back at the Zen monastery, something happened there that I won't, go into details about, but I got really, really triggered in my pain, in my deep wound of feeling abandoned. And it was very traumatic for me. I woke up after that experience, I woke up that morning. I could barely walk. I was 25, and I remember walking with little step, totally curved, like I looked like I was 90 years old and, and a lot of spinal issues, and I was like walking slowly into, we eat all together at the monastery, right? And I went to breakfast. I barely sat down and I was in so much pain. And then this woman saw me and she was like, I think you need to address this with this. And she gave me a brochure. She put a brochure on my table. And the brochure was about the Rosen Method bodywork from Mary. So once I was able to function again, which took, a couple of weeks, I went and I signed up and I went for a session. And literally, when that woman, the practitioner, puts the hand on my body, I became a puddle of tears. Everything came out. And that was the beginning of a really long love story.
Wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. You talk about the challenges you had in your life and having to relax as you could, but being in extreme pain. How did you manage to relax while in pain?
Well, it's interesting because it didn't happen at once, right? And actually, I've had quite a few injuries in my life, so kind of a repetitive lesson. People that are on a that kind of like repetitive lesson, it's like that lesson came and then that. Are we unstable? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So, repetitive patterns, to me, life is a spiritual journey. I can't say it. And things, an experience, life brings us experiences that will make us work, on the many different facets of an issue. And for me, it always came with my body. I've been a dancer very early on. So I grew up with my dad, and he put me in ballet at 4 years old, and I kept dancing my entire life. I've always loved dancing. I'm very physical. I'm a hiker. I used to be a yoga instructor. I love being strong. I love being in feeling that I got. I was able to really be more and more in my body. But I also had a tendency of pushing, because I was very willful, which also helped me survive, right? A lot of survivors, we're strong people, but we're also very willful, right? So in my willfulness, I've always wanted to do things of my own, and also to be successful at creating what I wanted to create. I had a tendency to push, and really using a lot of my male energy, not being so much in my female energy of, receiving, being magnetic, but more like, I'm going to make this happen, And over the years, I've had a lot of physical injuries, that came from a combination of my dancing, also a combination from having adverse childhood experiences, which when we have adverse childhood experiences, our bodies sometimes, come up with different illnesses. My issue went into my joints, having very, very sensitive and delicate ligaments. So several times in my life, I've learned to just, like, it's almost like spirit was like, you need to stay put, girl, and put me down, really, like put me down literally, like being in bed for 6 months with, broken spine, not being able to use my arms for 2 years because I had a chiropractic injury. It's like there's been several times where I've had to just stay put, So over the years, I've learned to not fight it. First, stop pushing, so that was huge for me, to stop pushing, to trust. When you're pushing, you're not in trust. If you're in trust, you don't need to push, right? So for me, my biggest life lesson is to really trust that things are going to be, if I show up in the right way, I have a relationship with something bigger than me. You can call divine, mother, father, God, however you like to call it, source. In that relationship, I need to surrender and trust that I'll be taken care of. I don't have to do it all, and I don't have to push. So the last injury I had a big bursitis in my hip. It was extremely painful. Oh my God. Actually, I don't think I ever yelled. Like, I was in so much pain. I was literally screaming of pain when I would move. It wasn't that long ago. It was maybe like 2-3 years ago. And I ended up flat in bed. I could not move, literally. I was, I lost, I was trying to take ibuprofen for it, and it fell off my hand, rolled on the other side of the room. There was no way I could go fetch it. It was bad, But instead of, okay, I'm trying to do it by myself, no. What I learned is I called my landlord that lived next door. I called my friends, my healers, my acupuncturist came to the house and gave me acupuncture. I was like, okay, I'm not going to force. I'm just the way it is right now. I can't move, right? So I need to organize myself. Thank God I had my phone, and I brought people to bring me food, to go walk my dog, and give me treatment so I could little bit by little recover. But what I did not do is I didn't beat myself up for it. I didn't push through, and I didn't contract even more around the pain, and so therefore it moved. And that was big learning.
That's an experience right there. Yeah. And it's like you surrendered.
Exactly.
As Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, you can use matter to change matter. Yeah. I love that. You have you're so grounded and resilient. Even when you speak, like I feel the energy, there is something I can't really explain, like sometimes we say we really can't explain certain things spiritually, but it's very strong. And I love that. Just love to be in this space of, experiencing this. I love that.
You.
Yeah.
I filmed a little promotional video a couple of months ago, and I would say resilient is my middle name. Exactly. Very grounded. I wasn't always, for sure. I was not. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, it really shifted like later in my late 20s when I really started, doing the work, on my body, because I was definitely not grounded before. Mm-mm.
And you look like you have that great sense of exploring. You love to explore, exploration. Different, yeah. You do have that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So you also talk about being that visionary. Sometimes, people have different visions, and can you tell us a little bit about your side of being that visionary in your aspect or in the things that you're forecasting?
Okay. Well, I have a strong belief that we are on this planet as a humanity to evolve. We're not just here to, get things, and we're really here. I think we have a beautiful opportunity, and I felt that, my entire life, to really evolve into humanity of the heart. And, there is a lot of skills that are available to us, intuitive guidance, telepathy, if you would. But most of all, we have the ability to expand our hearts. And that is so incredibly special. So incredibly. We are so, so blessed to have the ability, if we do the work, to expand our hearts. So, for me, it's a purpose. It's a life mission for myself personally. How do I heal myself that I am grounded in my heart space, that I can hold and be compassionate, for everything that I see playing in front of me. And then the other side of that, no, it's not the other side, but the tool actually, I think, to get there is, I was thinking this morning, thinking about us talking today. I was, you remember what they say that the Dalai Lama said, it's like, he said the Western woman is going to save the world. Do you remember hearing this quote sometimes? I mean, it's like a few years back. And I was like, I wonder what he really meant by that, and we keep hearing about, okay, it's the return of the divine feminine and blah, blah, blah. I actually don't like so much about the divine feminine. And you can call her sacred. I like to call her deep. It's the deep feminine. She doesn't have to be on an altar. She doesn't have to be a goddess.
Yes.
It's the feminine side of each human being. We all have it. I don't care which body you're born into. As a human being, you have a deep feminine side of you, like you have a deep masculine side of you. It's still, a duality system. I think it's true. You see it in nature. It's everywhere in nature. So I believe that if we are able as a community to do that work of surrendering, opening to the depth of ourselves, which is our feelings, and do that work of freeing ourselves from the constriction that come from mental patterns, from fear, from the contracted masculine that has been in power on this planet for a long time, then we have a chance to continue our human evolution into a humanity of the heart.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. What would you say to somebody who is out there and they still feel like their circumstance and their condition, looking at their circumstance and conditions, they feel like they cannot thrive in life? Like, I would say that's like giving up power, to the circumstances and conditions rather than turning inside. But at the same time, what would you say to them to encourage them to know that that doesn't define who they are and what they can accomplish?
Yeah, yeah. I think of that often, and I know it's really hard, and I've been in all kind of places in my life. I've been really at the bottom, feeling like, feeling at the bottom. Um, even sometimes feeling like, oh my God, I could be very being homeless, when I was younger, you know. And then I've been in places, of a lot of feeling a lot of gratitude for the beauty and abundance, that surround me. And when you are so locked into your circumstances, it is really hard to have a positive, point of view. Like, I mean, everything, like all the, law of attraction and, Abraham Hicks, I don't know if you guys are into that, where you live, but all that, positive thinking and, or, like just, like don't be your problem. Easy to say when you have a roof over your head, when you have a bit of nature around you and good food on your table, it's much easier. So first of all, I believe that it is imperative that people that do have that freedom of abundance to do the work, do the work because you have it easy. Therefore, you need to really do the work. And so you can uplift the rest of humanity.
Right.
It's a responsibility, keep evolving and uplift the rest of humanity. And then if you're part of the humanity that is really struggling, in your circumstances, in your everyday life, I think it's difficult, but it's like if there is a way to find that faith, or to navigate toward receiving help, to navigate maybe towards some kind of church, it's like to accept the help. Even if it's like, you have to go to the food kitchen, and, it's difficult. Or if you're in a family where there is violence, where there is a lot of abuse and, difficulty, between, the husband and wife, it's not easy, but I feel like keep faith and keep reaching out. The help is out there. I think that's the main thing I would say. The help is out there. Call it, call it in just with simple prayers. Call it in. Please help me. You have to be humble enough in one side. You have to be humble enough to ask for help. But you also have to love yourself enough to trust that you deserve that help. So whoever you are, even if you're sleeping, in the bottom of a building, and you're homeless, just ask for help and trust that your soul is good and you deserve to be helped. You deserve it, and the help is out there. It is out there.
Wow. Wow. I love that. What's your next big goal?
My next big goal, I want to, well, I was sharing with you, last week that I started writing a book 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a hard time finishing it. It was like a adventure story. It was, of course, a lot of, my adventures, traveling all over the world, but something was not quite gelling, into the presentation of it. And one of my business mentors was like, just put it aside, don't focus on that. So I did put it aside. And right now I'm very ready to take it again, or maybe to start a new one. So I started to write again just a few weeks ago. So that's my big goal right now, is to, publish a book by the end of the year. And, hopefully have it to be successful and to be in a bigger way. I love speaking, obviously. That's the thing. I love, to be able to be a public speaker, hopefully again, when we can share with each other, in theaters and conferences. I'm doing a lot of online work. I've done a lot of online programs the last 3 years. I started before the pandemic to put my work online and help people, all over the world, which is great to be able to have access to that. But I really love traveling, and I look forward to the time when I can come and visit with you in person.
No
and
problem.
we can, visit, people, all over the place and share the good words. Yeah.
I'd
So
love that.
that's my main thing right now, the book. And, I'm enjoying working one-on-one with people again. I've been doing like group programs quite a bit the last 3 years, as I was saying. And right now I'm like, I think I want to deepen with, one-on-one people. It's really good. Yeah.
Beautiful. You also said you wanna like start a podcast. Have you thought
Yes.
about maybe the title or what you want to talk about, or is it what you do right now? I'm excited too.
Not quite sure about the title. I mean, it could be like today, when I feel I heal, something like that. No, I think it will be something different. Um, I have, the Deep Feminine in Action is one of my Facebook group, Deep Feminine in Action. I have a YouTube channel, which is The Embrace.life. And I love doing that. I love doing videos. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the podcast is going to be called, but maybe I'll have you as a guest speaker.
I'll be honored. And yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be a guest. Thank you so much. Um, what advice would you give to your 21-year-old self?
Oh. Oh. I think it would have something to do with like don't fall in love too fast. Yeah, something like, like watch for those attractive men. Just and know your value. Know your value.
I love that. Know your value. That is big. That is big. Yeah. So, sorry.
The knowing about our value, it does need to come back to doing the healing work, and the childhood work, because you can be gorgeous and vital, and have all creative qualities, and be a good person. If there's a part of you that's been hurt, deep inside, and you're still feeling like, there is certain thing that you don't deserve.
Right.
Because you have a certain message at a very young age that something wrong with you. That's what we do as children. We take it in, like parents fight, parents divorce, must be something wrong with me.
Right.
Because that's the way the child see the world, and it's normal in the developmental stages of childhood. The world is all around you, but you're the center, and that's normal. Therefore, anything that's happening around you is caused by you,
Right.
And so a lot of the healing work around the childhood adversity is to repair that, repair these things that you take on as like, I must have created that trauma, that difficulty, that challenge for myself and my family.
And I definitely really like that, because when you go to the root cause of any problem, it is where you are really able to help the person come out of the challenges they are facing. And that's why I respect so much the work that you do. It's not about the symptoms. It's about getting to the root cause of the issue. And if every problem was really, genuinely tackled in that manner, I think our world would be a better place. But most often it's the suffix, and forgetting that, the bottom, everything is down there, and it's whatever you're doing here is not helping out at all. And sometimes it makes it even worse as time goes by. So getting to the root cause of the problem and you really being in that area and helping people get out of that, I really, I really love that. Every work that I see out there that help people to get back down there and really, dig down onto the things that they didn't even realize that existed, or that's what was blocking them from moving forward in your life. I respect that a lot. I respect that. Yeah. So
And,
yes, please.
you know, Mary, I feel like, I mean, if I had one advice to tell anyone, you know, is get a meditation practice. You know, whatever that look like. You know, it could, you know, it's like just get onto, like, create a space in your home, you know, even if you have a modest home, just a place where you have a pillow that you're going to sit on. And I love to make like a little altar, you know, like a little place where you put a flower, or you put, you know, like a little statue that you like, or some whatever, you know, and just, you know, spend even 5 minutes every morning just sitting there before you start your day and go, okay, I'm just going to really tune in, you know, and be with myself and listen to my guidance. And I know it's not easy, you know, like if you're like a single mom, you know, it's like the first thing you do, you wake up, you go to your kid. So maybe
Right.
before you get out of bed, just, you know, just take a few breaths to be like, hi, you know, in my higher self, I'm saying hello to myself and my guidance. And I'm going to make today a beautiful day. And I'm going to listen, and I'm going to be guided. You know, that would be my main advice to anyone. You don't need to, oh, but I can't meditate. My mind don't stop. Well, yeah, your mind don't stop because you're not meditating. You know, it's like people saying, you know, oh, I can't do yoga. I'm not flexible. I'm like, well, you get to become flexible. You are not flexible, and then you go to yoga. It's the contrary, you know? So, and it's all about the practice. It's not about the results. Just keep trying, keep trying. How can I feel centered? You know, it's such a great tool. And then the second one, like find a place where you can be in nature. And I know it's not easy in big cities, you know, but there are parks, right? It's like just, you know, and you know, we can make a difference on asking for more. We want more parks. We want gardens. We want community gardens. You know, bring the mother back. Bring the mother back anywhere, because that is also, you know, it's like we need to, when we meditate, you can connect with something, you know, above, but we need to connect with something below, right? And that's the heart of the mother. And we need to live with Gaia. We need to live with Mother Nature. So however we can create that, you know, asking for it, community gardens, parks, you know, little bits of gardens that people have in front of their houses. It's huge. And the children need that so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna let that sink.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Yemaya, it's been a great time just listening to you, sharing from your heart. And I feel like bubbles when you speak. That's how connected I am to whatever you've shared. And I know deep in me, you know, like when I feel that, it just tells me what kind of person you are. And I am sure that those who are going to listen to this episode will also get that which I got from you. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing and for being so open and, you know, even talking about your personal, you know, your personal life and things like that. And we appreciate you, you know, for the work that you do, elevating other people, being there and impacting many lives, empowering them and making them, you know, live the life they love living, knowing that they have what it takes, making our planet a better place. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's been such a pleasure connecting. You know, I know we live in different communities. You know, I'm all the way in Hawaii right now. You know, well, I don't even remember you in Chicago.
I'm in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, and So it's such I love the opportunity, you know, to touch other people. And, you know, we gotta, how do you say, we gotta band together, you know, and
Oh,
become
yes.
that humanity of the heart. So I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you people. And, you know, I hope that we'll do more and then you'll come and be my guest.
Oh, no problem. I'll be there. Thank you so much. Okay, dear listeners, we've come to the end of this episode. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you for taking advantage of this. And on the description box of this episode, you're going to find Yemaya's information where you can contact her if you want to know more. If you have somebody or a family member, it may be a friend, it might be yourself, who is looking for solutions on how to get out of situations or some trauma or whatever it is. Feel free to contact her and see what you can get from there, because there's always help. All you need to do is ask. Take care and bye for now.